Winning a newly refreshed Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala invites you to pamper yourself in one of our comfy guest rooms. Enjoy our free and fast Wi-Fi, heated outdoor swimming pool, 24-hour fitness center, and our deluxe continental breakfast. Other on-site amenities include a restaurant, putt-putt golf, and a car wash. Go happy, go Hojo at the Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala, proud sponsor of Friday Night High School football on WOCA, The Source.
WOCA.
Hi, I'm Fran Darkington. When I need news, I pass the rest and tune to the source. WOCA.
WOCA. AM 1370.
96.3. 96.3. FM.
Go back to Buddy Sports Page. It's time now for us to gather the Knights. Usually we have three of us. 1, 2, Tom James, Buddy Martin.
Relax.
Here he is.
Guy.
Oh, there he is.
Relax.
Nice of you to join us.
I was called out. I was doing an appearance on a nationally syndicated house and garden show.
Well,
Of course you were.
It's a new career for you. That would be good. Planning some good ideas? Are you? Such as, what is the greatest of all the opening day games on what is being hailed by some as the best opening weekend of college football, maybe of all time?
It's right up there.
So the Knights of the, whatever shape this table is, I'm really tired of that joke. Let's just say the Knights of the table are going to gather and talk about what we think is the most important and the biggest game. Your idea, by the way, the good one, coming up. So I'm going to be last. So Tom Schmitz, you can go first, or Tom James, you go first, flip a coin, and I'll go last.
Well, it's an easy softball question for me because it has to deal with the state of Georgia.
Wait a minute, is Georgia Southern opening up?
Yeah.
Well, that's Savannah State, but that's not part of this conversation.
I'm
But that's not your
surprised.
pick.
That's not my
your
pick.
Okay.
No, my pick is it happens in Atlanta, Labor Day weekend, of course. The Georgia Bulldogs and the North Carolina Tar Heels. North Carolina Tar Heels opened last season with a loss to South Carolina and then won 10 straight. University of Georgia won 10 games last year, fired their head coach. They got a new coach coming in, Kirby Smart, supposed to be the savior of the Georgia Bulldog history. You got Larry Fedora up at North Carolina on the precipice of being legitimate in the ACC. I think this game goes a long way in doing two things. One, does it make Kirby Smart a coach we think he's capable of being if Georgia wins in the SEC? Or with North Carolina winning, does it make them a third participant in the conversation as legitimate contenders in the ACC? So I look at that game.
Well, that's riding on that. That's an awful lot of one game, Tom James.
That is. That's a great game, though. That's
It's a great
pick.
game.
Great pick. Well, I'm picking a game, and it's a big one, and it's in the Lone Star State.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
I
USC.
think you know what. Yeah, it's not USC and Alabama.
Whoa!
Wow.
Okay. Then we get the shock out of the way. That's right. I know. It's crazy. It's number 3, Oklahoma, and number 12, Houston. Watch out for the Cougars. OU, of course, stacked with talent. Very trendy pick for the college football playoff, if not the national championship. And a loss to a non-Power 5 conference team right out of the gates would not look good for the Sooners. Now, for Houston, a win over a Big 12 team early on in the season could do wonders for the program. It might even get them in the Big 12 down the road. So we'll see. Obviously, Tom Herman,
He may be in the Big 12, that's for sure.
That's right. Great coach. He's got a hungry team. Don't forget, in the Peach Bowl, they whooped Florida State by 2 touchdowns. So they are a dangerous opponent. They are loaded with talent. Oklahoma and Houston is the game I think I'm looking forward to the most, outside of course, USC, Alabama.
Yeah, I knew he was going to have to get that in, buddy.
I love Baker Mayfield. He's so much fun.
He is.
And talking to the coaches out there, they say they're worried about him hurting himself because he's played so hard. They have to tell him to back off some of his runs. But he's fun. But
We know you can't go
quarterbacks-
with Florida UMass. We know you can't do that.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the reason I like this game is, number one, it features ACC and SEC, and one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and a young quarterback we haven't seen yet, and that would be Florida State versus Ole Miss
Great game.
in Orlando. Chad Kelly could be as good a quarterback as there is out there right now. Big-time arm. I don't know how good Ole Miss is, but you know what? They're going to find out because they're going to play a pretty doggone good Florida State team who's got, in my money, the most underrated player in the country at running back in Dalvin Cook. But they have a brand-new quarterback. Deontay Francois is taking over for the injured Sean McGuire. This is a big game. If they lose, they can recover. But to my mind right now, this is a statement game for Jimbo Fisher against the SEC and opening night in Orlando. It's certainly a statement game for Ole Miss, who's got a tough way to go.
Alabama would like to see Ole Miss lose that football game.
Well, of course they would.
Yes, they would. Early, a little momentum at least headed into the SEC West schedule.
It's going to be a great weekend, and Monday night is the Monday night game. That tops off the rest of the weekend. So these are all really good games. And, by the way, it's such a weekend that the games like Notre Dame and Texas that we used to salivate for it don't even get a mention hardly.
Isn't that crazy? But
Clemson, Auburn, nothing.
Okay, that's all we got to say for the boys from the table, whatever we want to call it. It's Marvel. That's all I got to say. I don't know, Tom James, you have a writing background. You used to be a sports writer. Have you ever heard of Peter Fenning?
I'm fairly familiar with the name, yeah.